Hello, welcome back to See What Sticks, a podcast about everything and nothing. I'm your co-host, Russell.
And I'm your co-host, Emma. What's up? How you doing on this fine evening, morning, midday, whenever you're listening?
Emma's on the phone again, if you guys can't tell. We are back to the phone method. Even though in the last show I said I'm going to try not to do the phone method, it works on a very sporadic schedule. So, yeah.
How long-distance relationships work.
Yeah, pretty much. So on this episode, or I guess since last time you were on, Emma,
Yes.
what have you been up to, watching, reading, listening to, with albums, anything? What kind of things can people listen to and watch that you have been watching or listening to?
Well, I have been watching Arrested Development, much to the advice from you, and it has been honestly hilarious. There's always money in the banana stand. Other than that, I watch Orange is the New Black. That one's pretty crude, so if you have little people running around, and when I say little people, I mean small children or individuals who are not really ready to see the graphic sides of life, don't watch it around them because it's insane. And if you have seen it, you know. But it's very good. I enjoy it as well. Music, I have been all over the board, to be honest. I kind of really don't stick to one genre. It's kind of whatever pops on your top picks on Spotify. And really, Spotify has been knocking it out of the park lately. I've been really digging some Friendship. Trying to think what else I really honestly have been listening to. Apparently, I don't pay attention, but Friendship primarily, Rehab, primarily a lot of EDM lately, to be honest. What about you?
For people, this is going to date this episode a little bit, but the DJ electronica artist Avicii died this past week. So I was listening to a little bit of Avicii, and I'm going to be honest, the only song that I like by Avicii is Levels, which is like his... And I mean, it's incredibly sad that he died so young, and it's horrible, but I'm going to be honest, I thought maybe after his passing I would have like a refound love for his music. You know, I like one song, but it's still very sad. So I was listening to that. I've been listening to a lot of Vampire Weekend lately, a lot of Arctic Monkeys, because they both have albums coming out very soon, which I'm super hyped about. Like, you guys have no idea. So hyped. So I've been going through the entire discography of those two bands. A lot of the Vaccines, a lot of the Wombats. For people who don't know those bands, get on there. Listen to them. What are you doing? Don't listen to this. Go listen to all of them. Come back. We'll be here. Also, some of this band called King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. I know that's a bit of a mouthful, but really cool. Just a really cool kind of 70s-esque kind of band. Very hippie-ish, but very like rock instrumental as well, but very chill. It's not like rock like Metallica or Led Zeppelin. It's rock kind of almost like a little bit of how the Beatles have a little bit of rock in them and a little bit of Jimi Hendrix kind of rock. Really, really cool. Would recommend. And what I've been watching, I've also been watching Arrested Development recently. You know what? That's pretty much it on the like Netflix side of things. I actually have to give a like an hour-long presentation on Game of Thrones this week for like this senior project that I'm doing, which most people, I think I was talking to Emma about this, where most people who like put memes on the internet are like, oh my god, people take classes about Game of Thrones and people take all these like cool things that, you get to study these movies. When you have to write an hour-long talk on how Game of Thrones has consistencies and inconsistencies with the Middle Ages, it'll make you rethink those statements. So I've been watching a lot of Game of Thrones recently to prep for this kind of like final hoorah of a college career. Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
I'm going through here looking actually on my Spotify because I feel like I totally only named like two people. Tableau is a really big one that I've been feeling lately. It's kind of in my vibe. Trying to look and see. I've skipped through a lot of these. Baby Rexa. Afrojack, David Guetta, and Esther Dean in Another Life is actually very good as well. But Alesso, Time Flies. Time Flies actually has been growing on me. I wasn't a fan at first, and now that I've been listening to more of their stuff, I'm really liking them.
Time Flies reminds me of my freshman and sophomore years of college, and take that as you will, but it's just, whenever I listen to Time Flies, that's all I can think about, and it's not a bad thing, but it reminds me of a lot of just Time Flies to me is synonymous with basement frat party.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what just happened to your microphone? It sounded like you just got hit by a train.
I have no idea. I'm so sorry. I don't know. Literally nothing happened.
Oh, okay.
But I will say AJR gives me the same vibe that Time Flies gives you.
Wait, what is it?
AJR.
What is that?
I think it's Three Guys, isn't it? Any of you listening? I'm like pretty.
Is it? What genre is it?
I don't really know. I'm not good at like picking genres.
Is it?
And the related artist pool is like Mr. Wives.
Oh,
Banners,
okay. Oh, okay.
Final Theater, Small Pools.
Oh, okay. So it's like indie pop.
Yes. So AJR, they do a song, and forgive me because I'm literally digging to find it right now. I believe it's called "I'm Ready." Anyway, so when I was a freshman in college, y'all get ready, I was my university's mascot, and our mascot just happened to be a raven. So I was basically a giant bird. And so we were part of a pretty good-sized conference of other smaller schools. And so for one of our, like, big hype videos, they wanted all the mascots to do, like, a dance to "I'm Ready," and I just have so many memories of filming that dance in this giant bird suit, and it brings back fun memories, but it also brings back some very, like, I never want to do that again in a million years memories. So
yeah,
that's fun.
Nice. Oh, for a few people out there listening, I've gotten some emails of people who listen who don't know me personally, who have tried to decipher what school that I go to, I'm about to graduate from. The school in which Emma is talking about is not that school. That's not a hint. It's been like this whole scavenger hunt game for people to figure it out what school that I go to or went to. And once I graduate and everything is over, I will tell people that.
This is actually fun. It's kind of like a little Easter egg. You should give another Easter egg this week for everyone.
I'm miserable right now through finals. That's your next Easter egg.
That's every university ever.
What's another? Okay, here's my Easter egg scavenger hunt thing to figure out what school I go to for those of you who don't know and you want to know. We have a certain clock on our campus without a number 4. Our number 4 is 4 ones.
Don't give them anything else.
Yeah.
Don't give them anything else.
That's all I'm going to say. If you can figure out what that means from that hint, what that means is there is a 4 on our clock. It's just different. It's 4 ones, just like how a 3 is like just dash, 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 or line, line, line. Our 4 is the same way. So if you can figure out what that means and why that is, you'll know what school I go to. But until then, you'll have to wait for another 3 or 4 weeks until I'm done. And then I will spill the beans, and Emma and I can talk about some fun experiences we've had at blank place.
Yeah.
That's going to be a real doozy of an episode.
It is going to be a real doozy of an episode. You are correct about that. Goodness.
Excuse me. Next week actually will be the 6-month anniversary of the podcast. So next week we're going to, it'll be episode 26, which is half of 52.
Sweet.
So next week will be the 6-month anniversary of the podcast, so we'll have to do something a little special. So, this is episode 25.
It's going to be a 6-hour podcast. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, we're going to podcast for 7 hours. It's just going to be a podcast-a-thon.
I would die, actually. Like, I'm pretty sure.
My brain would actually melt.
I think we would run out of stuff. Would never run out of stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
We hold, like, the longest conversations. We should really go into, like, Guinness Book of World Records or something for that.
For the most boring conversation of all time.
Fact, Amundo. I feel like people who listen to us are probably just literally melting. Like, their brains are just melting out of their nose holes. Anyway, let's talk about some new and fun events in our lives.
My car got broken into today.
Okay, well, you go first. That's cool, too. We can do that. Yeah, that was very unfortunate, y'all. Don't leave your car unlocked.
Okay. I'm gonna tell the story right here, right now. It's getting told. Kaboom. It's a 0 hour or the 11th hour, whichever's more intense. Okay, so today I left my apartment and I drove to the college campus in which I go to. I live kind of far from my campus. So I drove there, and I had to drop off a sheet of paper at a building. And so I had parked, I parked kind of, so yeah, I had parked kind of by one of these buildings, and it was on the other side of a parking garage. So I ran into this building really fast, thinking that I'd locked my car behind me. Ran in and ran out probably under 3 minutes just because it was like, I don't know, 500 yards away, not even. Ran in, dropped the thing off, went back out. When I had gone back out, I went back into my car. It was unlocked. I did not lock it. So I got back into the car, turned on the ignition, took my headphones out, my earbuds, like the Apple ones, and put them in the center arm compartment or center console. Is that what you call it?
Console, yeah. Center console.
So yeah, the thing where your arm goes and you can open up and there's coins in there. So when I had got back to my car, I realized that my headphones were gone out of there. A bunch of my change was gone, except the pennies. All the quarters, nickels, and dimes were gone. And this emergency breaky out of your car knife thing that I have that like breaks the window, will cut your seatbelt. It has a little emergency flashlight. And then a stash of just if I'm going to get eaten by a grizzly bear money, just a little bit, just to make sure in case I'm ever actually stranded, I have a little bit of money that I just don't dip into. All of that was gone. And so I had instantly thought that it got broken into there. So what I did is I called the police and got a whole thing written up, like a case number, and told them exactly what happened. They were very, very helpful, very nice about everything. And then I kind of went on with my day a little bit bummed out that some of my stuff had been stolen, kind of felt violated. Got back to my apartment. I talked to Emma earlier, and she's like, hey, maybe it happened here, kind of thing. So I went to the front office of my apartment and kind of did the same spiel, called the police, blah, 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 blah. And then I learned that the apartment where I was living, there had been a string of break-ins at cars recently. So I'm thinking it might have happened last night, and I just didn't realize until I opened the center glove box after I was on campus. So yeah, that's my news. And so they stole around, I don't know, $350 worth of stuff from me, which is a little bit of a hassle, but it's not the end of the world. But it's still, it puts a damper on your day. How about you?
I mean, I turned 21, which is pretty cool.
Woo.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. Went to the bars like most 21-year-old people do, and did 21-year-old people things, and I can say it was quite enjoyable.
So it was the first time you ever had alcohol? Yes? On the record.
I legally had alcohol for the first time, yes.
Awesome. How did you like, for people who don't know, Emma went to her first bar experience with me. And we have a few stories from that, which are a doozy. Also, I know Sean listens to this. Hi, Sean.
Hey, Sean.
But
thank you so much. It was a really good evening.
So can you describe your first bar event and what you were thinking of before you went in there, and kind of for all the people who've been to bars, just what it sounds like for someone else who's never been and what their experience is?
Well, fortunately, depending on how or what angle you want to look at it, we went to a college campus, or Russell's college campus, to celebrate at all the bars. A little more fun. People are kind of a little closer to our age, right? So, unfortunately, it was Mom's Weekend. And for those of you who have never experienced... What?
You mean fortunately?
Okay, well, for those of you who have never experienced a Mom's Weekend on a college campus at all the bars, it's...
hella moms.
adventure. It's hella moms and hella cougars trying to get laid with the college guys, and it's a little off-putting. I'll be honest. It's a thing.
So, what she means by Mom's Weekend, for people who may not go to a university or college or have been to college, the specific place I go to has a lot of Greek life, so frats and sororities. That means near the end of the semester, they'll have like a parents' weekend. So sometimes it's parents' weekend, sometimes it's dad's weekend or mom's weekend. Well, it was mom's weekend for the frats and sororities, which you know what that means. So many drunk moms. And I think that was probably the best way to experience the bars for Emma. One, because a lot of people weren't out that night because it was pouring rain. Another reason is because I'm doubting a lot of normal people want to go to the college bars that usually has a younger college crowd when there's 70 moms hanging out. What do you?
It's
a party.
Yeah, it's a party. There's a particular bar where there's a sign and it says the date of your birthday. So everyone that turns 21 there basically will always go get a picture with that sign just because it's like the thing to do. So that was kind of the first place we hit up, obviously, because it's like the night before my birthday, but at midnight. So technically it's like the actual day, if y'all know what I'm saying. So you kind of like hold out till midnight. So we went and got pizza beforehand, which I'm not saying where we got pizza, but it is the bomb. It is the best pizza you'll ever have.
It's like Subway for pizza. It's a build your own like pan crust or pan. Is it pan crust or what is that called?
Personal pan?
Yeah, personal pan pizza, and it's like done in an oven, like a stone oven. It's really good. If you have one of those near you, I know there's one in Hollywood called 500 Degrees Pizza. It's pretty famous. Look that one up. But yeah.
So we ate pizza, and then we went to the bar, and it was a blast. We were out for actually a few hours. Unfortunately, the weather was awful, and it was like freezing rain, but we made it and persevered, and it was a super fun time.
Yeah, so what she's talking about with that sign is it's just a sign on the inside of the bar that's digital, and it's like a big stopwatch, and it says if you were born, Emma's birthday is the 15th of April, so it's like if you were born April 15th, 1997? Yeah, 1997. You are allowed in if you're born after this date, and people like getting that picture with that. It's like, that's me right there. However, for my 21st birthday a few years ago, I was on vacation, so I never got that picture, so I'm a little bit jealous. I've always been jealous of people who were able to get the picture, and I wasn't. So, yeah, that's a thing. But, so what did you think of, what was your mental image of how the bars were at this university versus how they actually were?
If I want to be honest, it was actually identical. There really wasn't anything more or less than what I was expecting. So Russell and I did a photography event for a sorority, and they held it at. Yeah, and they held it at a bar. So I kind of already have like pre-21 experience because I was taking photos. And let me tell you, when a sorority decides to throw a party at a bar, it gets real fast. And when you have a camera, you are numero uno. So it was a really interesting experience. And honestly, going to the bars as a 21-year-old, pretty much the same. But it was very fun. We went the second night of the weekend out to a different kind of style bar. It was more like beer and wine rather than hard liquors, and so the vibe was much more relaxed. It was just Russ and I that night, so it's pretty nice, just for like kind of a date night kind of deal instead of like out with friends.
Yeah, it was.
But yeah, it was a blast.
Yeah, the place we went to, the second one, was this place that does like microbreweries. And it's more of a, I guess, hipster location. It's more of what you'd find just at a normal bar, but it's all BYOB, so they only serve drinks, but they encourage you to bring your own food. Like, it's on the doors. It says, if you want to eat, please bring food in. And there's a really nice Indian restaurant right next door, so you can technically get food from the Indian restaurant and bring it right into this place, if that's a route you want to take. You know what I mean? And
it's an amazing route, let me tell you.
Yeah.
But But then the next weekend was kind of like hanging with the fam, and so we went to a bunch of wineries, and it was so fun. And then kind of around where I live, there's like this super like famous in the area, but not famous like in the world, but it definitely should be, dive bar kind of thing. And I'm not going to give the name of it because y'all will immediately know where I live kind of thing if I do, but it serves the most amazing food. So how it works is you get there at like 12:30 in the afternoon, and you start basically tailgating in the parking lot, which is allowed, BYOB. And the place doesn't actually open till 4:30. So if you want a seat in this little bar, you have to be there at like noon, basically, to start kind of the lineup, needless to say, to put your name on the list to get dinner. And they stop at like 10, and it's like a packed out place till 10 when they pull last call. So Russell and I, and then my parents went to this little dive bar, and it honestly was such a fun time. It was like probably one of my favorite parts of my birthday, for sure.
So what she's talking about is this specific restaurant. If you guys have seen It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, think Patty's Pub, but there's no menu there's menu for drinks, of course, but there's no menu for specific food items. It's just kind of on a chalkboard, and a waiter comes around and it's like, this is what we have tonight. And it's one of the restaurants where it's only what they have that day. So it always changes, and it's all fresh food. That doesn't mean it's not cooked, but it's all fresh. There's nothing frozen. They bring it into that day. That's it. And when they're out of that item. So it's a limited run. And so we went there. It was amazing. Like, the outside aesthetic of the building is cool and kind of rustic, and it has you all know what I'm talking about with the feel. But on the inside, it's like a lodge kind of style, and the food is off the charts.
Incredible. It was probably one of the best meals I've ever had in my entire life, quite literally. I really can't compare it to much. I know that my mother ordered the prime rib, and that sucker was easily as big, if not bigger, than the plate itself. Super thick cut, really good cuts of meat, and they have all these beautiful wines, wine spritzers, blah, 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 which wine is my thing, if y'all ever wanted to know. I love it. But yeah, it was honestly a super fun time. And I did not get hungover, which was honestly a huge blessing.
So yeah, the restaurant, the food is astronomically better than what you would think. The food could honestly, it's big portions. It's quite big portions. But this place should be a lot more famous than it is. And yeah, it's not 5-star dining, but that's not what you're going there for. This place should be on the Travel Channel as best 50 stops in the United States. It is honestly that good, and I'm kind of a food snob, and it is, oh my God, so good.
And the wait staff are
so
honestly
nice.
The friendliest people you will ever meet. Like, just so fun. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
So yeah, going back to the first weekend when we were at the college campus, let's tell the story of how one of my buddies who's been on the show, Adam, what his roommates did. This is fine. They don't listen to this. We can talk about it, and we can use their first names because they're the most common names ever if you're European. So, Emma, tell your side of the story, and then I'll tell mine.
I'm going to be honest. I'm not really sure what you're referring to right now. The first week of school?
No, the first weekend we went out.
Oh, okay.
With Anton and Nico.
Okay, so I absolutely love Anton and Nico. Honestly, they're like the friendliest characters I've ever met, and they're so charismatic and fun, and they're really unique individuals, and it just made the night like that much more fun because they're just kind of like out there, but like in a good way. However, Nico is like the bravest, most confident person I think I've ever met.
He was also blackout drunk.
Okay, but still, blackout drunk or not, he had confidence like to spare. And so we kept like joking with him to go like
hit on a
hook up
mom.
with a mom kind of thing, you know? It's like, that's not actually going to happen. And this kid straight up just beelines it to the door where this mom's walking in with her daughter and, like, whispers something into this chick's ear, and we're all laughing, right? Like, it ain't going to happen. She's going to turn him down. No, she proceeds to follow him to the bar, and they down God knows how many drinks. And then, like, I don't really know what happened from there, but something happened that wasn't necessarily positive, I don't think. And it didn't work out. I felt real bad for Nico. Sorry, my dude.
That happened. So I'll describe the event as well. Nico, under our peer pressure, which wasn't much, we're like, hey, dude, you should go hit on that mom. And he's like, okay. That was the peer pressure that we gave him. Super, 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 like, vicious of us, right? But so what happened is he went over to this mom. They took some shots or whatever, had some drinks, had like an actual chat. And then it was like 2 seconds later, he comes over to us and we're sitting along kind of like a window. There's like a bench along a window. So you're facing in, but there's a window right behind you. He comes over, leans in. He's like, we have to go now. And we're like, what? So we all just like get up and go because we're right by the door. And that was the story of how our friend Nico almost hooked up with a random mom on Mom's Weekend. The end.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's
So before that, to give a little background on Anton and Nico, because we've never brought these characters up in the magical world of See What Sticks in our universe. So Anton and Nico are roommates of Adam, who's been on the show, and these two guys are very, very Lithuanian. They both have like tiny bits of accents, and they both speak. No, they're Croatian. I'm sorry. They both speak very, very fluent Croatian, and we had them in the movie In Search of Recognition. And the first comment I got from anybody who'd seen that footage is, "Where did you find those two guys?" To answer this question, I didn't find them. Those are real people. That's not an act. They were being legit. How would you describe them, Emma? European Jason Statham? Oh, he is European. Sorry.
It's almost impossible to honestly explain them. It's just an experience to know them. That's the best way. And it's not a bad experience. It's just definitely like a life experience.
Oh, yeah. And Adam, their roommate, who, if you've listened to that episode, you kind of get a sense of his personality. He's very relaxed. Anton and Nico, especially drunk. No, not relaxed. I have no idea how those three can live together, but somehow it works. Yes.
Yeah, it does. It does.
But yeah, besides that, this weekend, which is going to date this episode basically instantly, Curtis, big fan of the show, big fan of Curtis, the actor, comedian extraordinaire, is going to be in Chicago. And the See What Sticks podcast is road tripping to Chicago to meet with Curtis. And we will have an update on that. It's slim to zero chance that he'll be on the show again because it's a busy weekend. But we will see him, and it's going to be great. What are you feeling?
Yeah. I am heck stoked. And I think it's going to be a really fun time. But we, like Russ said, will have more information after we road trip our way there. And if y'all would want us to maybe record part of that road trip, please leave us an email or comment, concern, question, or something of that nature that you'd like us to do that, because I'm sure something similar could be arranged some way or another, maybe.
Yeah, or you can always call the podcast at 555-555-5555.
Don't do that. You're going to annoy whoever has that number.
It's not a real number. All 555s are Hollywood numbers, like the fake ones you see in movies. And I think they just go to like one of those like dial tones.
Nice. We should all try that. All of you should dial 555-555-5555. and let us know what happens.
Yeah. But Emma suggested an idea for a podcast topic that we'll do near the end, like in the ending part of this podcast, because we're past the 30-minute mark. Yeah, guys, I keep track. So she brought up the topic that what are your favorite and least favorite sick stories from being sick as a kid? And that's not how much did you toss your cookies or how like not that side of it, but the like memories of, oh my God, I had to go through this, or oh my God, this was the most comfortable I've ever been because I was sick. Like those kind of stories.
Yeah, we should discuss that. That'd be really fun. Trying to think. Do you have one like lined up in the chamber right now? Okay, because I'm like, I gotta gather my thoughts a little bit first. So go ahead.
Okay, so my first one is when I got chicken pox. So for those, basically everyone out there who listens to this, I got chicken pox really late. I got chicken pox when I was 14, which, yeah, is that really late?
I think it's later than most, but I don't know how, like, I think really late's when you hit like your 20s and 30s.
Oh, that's when it can like kill you, right?
Yeah, I think it can kill you at 14. I think it's just like obviously a little less likely, but still.
It's because I'm a superhuman. Nothing can kill me, guys.
Of course. We all knew that.
But so I got the chicken pox the first day of high school. So I missed the first day of high school and the second day. And I just remember I felt really like, you know, whenever you get sick, you have a fever or whatever. So I had this weird fever and I was like, my face turned super red. I'm really pale. For those of you who don't know me, I'm super, super pale. And my face turned all red and I took a bath and I got out of the bath and my mom looked at my back and she was like, oh my God, you either have scarlet fever or the chicken pox. It was the chicken pox, spoiler alert. But I remember the only thing that would help me when I had the chicken pox was this peppermint body lotion bubble bath stuff from Bath and Body Works. And I took baths in that for like 3 times a day for 5 days or whatever, how long I had the chicken pox. And now if I smell that, all I can think of were the great memories I made having chicken pox and scratching them so bad.
Yikes.
You remember how you had that Bath and Body Works peppermint stuff, or your mom did, and I'm like, I can't smell this, and you're like, why? And I'm like, I'll tell you later. That's
yeah.
why.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So I've never had anything like morbid. I don't really know. Trying to think. I unfortunately have a like disgustingly common track record of strep throat. Yes, I know all of you are screaming, get your tonsils removed. There's like this weird rule of thumb apparently that like you need to have strep so many times in like a certain period of time, like let's say like 15 times in 6 months, for like some doctors to consider that like merit to remove your tonsils. And I think like 2 or 3 years ago when I started looking into it, I missed it by like 2 cases. Which, let's be real, does anyone really want to have 13 cases of strep throat in 6 months? No, I still feel like that's a pretty good merit to get your tonsils removed. But anyway, so that was a thing. I'm trying to think that really the first time I remember having strep, I was actually with my friend, and when I was little, I used to vomit from strep a lot.
Ew.
Yeah, seriously, ew. And I really, like, at that age, had no recollection of being sick, like, before that, or, like, throwing up or anything. And so we, like, it was me, my friend, and our little brother, and then our cousin, who was also, like, our age. It was, like, us 3 little girls. We all went, like, on this big age adventure day. I don't know, y'all remember how you do that when you were, like, 8 and 9. So we went to like Build-A-Bear and like all this kind of stuff and had like just the most amazing day, right? And then like halfway through, I also didn't know I got car sick at this point. So this is kind of a culmination of like learning. Anywho, so we're in the car and we're riding along and I kind of just get this like achy stomach feeling, but at the time, like, I didn't really understand what that was, but we all know now, obviously, the achy stomach's never a good thing. and I would get relief when we would go down like the hilly like country roads. So when we would like go down that hill, when it makes you feel like your stomach goes up in your throat, that would be the only time that I would get like kind of that relief for my stomach. And I thought that was kind of weird, and I started getting a headache, hence the horrible like car sickness I get. But anywho, we went on riding the rest of the day. We dropped off like our grandparents, like all this other stuff that I kind of don't remember. But like as soon as we like pulled into the road that they lived on, I just straight up projectile vomited all in their van. And I was mortified on top of my two friends screaming at the top of their lungs. You can only imagine what's happening in this van, and their poor little brother is just like terrified. So that was honestly more traumatizing to me, I think, than anything, because I just felt so embarrassed for throwing up in someone's car, because that's like, she had to clean that like her mom did when I was inside. I just felt terrible. Like I still have this horrible like guilt over this like event happening.
So, yeah, wow, damn.
Yeah, it was quite upsetting to me. And then honestly, after that, it's just this horrible string of strep throat. I don't vomit anymore from it. Whoop-de-doo.
Okay, so
thankful.
I guess positive story. That was kind of a negative, sad story about a car and vomit.
Thanks, babe.
No, but do you have like a happy, fun one? Like, I was sick this one time, so I got to eat all the ice cream. Do you have one of those? I don't know.
Well, I don't know. Do you?
I mean, kinda. Not like all the ice cream. I mean, that would have explained a lot when I was a kid. But,
Russell. Anyway.
Wow. So maybe I think. So for those of you who don't know, both my parents are doctors. So faking sick was not a thing for me. But the few times I actually was, or if I sneaked, or if I got away with it rather, I just remember I would lay on the couch and I would like roll myself into a blanket as if it was a sleeping bag and just turn on cartoons, because if I was actually like sick and had the flu, I always have had a huge couch in our family room, and I would just lay on that all day watching like Bugs Bunny or whatever was on Cartoon Network at the time, like Ed, Edd n Eddy. Is that Cartoon Network?
I think so.
So I watched that and like Nickelodeon, even though I've never been a huge SpongeBob fan. I know I've talked about it before. Never been a SpongeBob guy. But I would lay on the couch, do that, and kind of veg out all day. And you know when you're a kid and you get to not go to school and it's like a Tuesday or Wednesday and you're like, haha, suckers. Even though I feel like garbage, I don't have to be there. So I had that.
True.
I had that like enlightening, overwhelmingly positive feeling, which is probably the best feeling in the universe when you're like a kid and you don't have to go to school, but everyone else does. So I had that feeling, and then when I got home, my parents would like make soup and toast, because at the time I was like 8, and I'm like, I don't know how to use a microwave or open a can. But yeah, so they made that and it was awesome. Wait, do you know how to use a microwave when you're 8 years old or 7 years old?
I think I did.
I think maybe I did. I don't know.
I think mine's the other side of it, because I was homeschooled till I was a freshman actually in high school. So when
that
I was
explains
like,
so much.
Thank you. Shared in a sandbox. So when I was like little, I guess, or under high school age, when I got sick, I didn't get to miss school. It didn't really matter. It was still kind of like, well, you're still home not doing anything, so you can read a book, right? So, yeah.
That is really sad. I mean, I guess I'm sure there's a bunch of positive aspects of being homeschooled as well, just like a different way of learning. But yeah, the sick aspect, that was like one of the best things about grade school, even though, I don't know, maybe you can't agree because you were homeschooled. I don't know. But let's all agree, grade school level stuff up until maybe freshman year of high school is so much harder than college level stuff. Or am I just crazy?
Honestly, I agree.
Because
I very much agree.
I don't know, maybe I just had a really tough time in grade school as just a person, and it just didn't click the right way. But in college, I'm like, wow, this is way more simple. I'm equally as lazy, though.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. Oh wow, thanks.
I'm trying to think what else. I don't really have any more like fun
What?
sick stories. Oh my gosh. Okay, so for those of you who actually don't know me personally, I literally have like the worst string of bad luck of anyone you'll ever meet. And
She
Russell can
actually
definitely
does.
confirm.
Oh
I
wait,
do.
the flat tire thing. Tell him the flat tire
That's
thing to back it up.
exactly where I'm going.
Oh.
So, okay. I'm gonna try and like shorten this a little bit, but you got to have like all the details. At work, the place I work is like a logistics company, so I work with like fleets of semis, and I work around a bunch of like super comedic dudes who think they're all hilarious, and some of them are very funny. One of them being our safety director, he like always gave me a tough time, as well as my supervisor and everyone else. Like, oh, like ever since I got my car, which hasn't been that long ago, mind you. There was
I think
like,
it was 2 months ago.
yes, it was. And so ever since I got my car, everyone's always like, oh, like your car looks like it's leaning. It's got a flat, blah, blah, blah. You know, like everyone's always giving me a tough time to freak me out. So I've gotten so used to hearing this that I'm kind of like, cool, funny. And I just kind of move on with my day. Well, the day I got up on my birthday, we're heading down the stairs. And it's actually Russell and his roommate. And long story short, they're like, hey, you got a flat, and I'm behind him, and I started like half like ass giggling, and I was just like, funny, like you're so funny, I don't have a flat. No, I had a flat, and when I say I have a flat, I mean it was like on the rim flat, and
It's literally like a flattened balloon. You could press the tire in with your hand. Like there was literally zero air in there.
Yeah, so here's the best, like even, okay, so it gets better and better. This is a Saturday, and the literal day before, after work, I got an entirely new set of tires put on my car because I found out that my rears were both chopped, cupped, and the bands are broken. So you can only imagine the kind of humming noise it made at 60 miles per hour, which is not a fun time. So I said, screw this, I'm getting new tires. So I got an entirely new set of all four wheels. It needed them anyway. I didn't really know how many miles are on the ones I got because it's a used car. So I was like, screw it, I'll just get new ones. When I bought the car, it's got a rim that had previously been cracked. I don't know how hard this woman hit a pothole, a speed bump, I don't know, but she really cracked it. And so it had been welded and repaired, and my biggest fear was this flat was unfortunately the tire that was on the rim that had been repaired. So I was obviously heartbroken because
heartbroken wasn't the right word. The word is panic attack.
Definitely a panic attack. So I drive a Mini Cooper, for those of you who don't know, and like any car ever, actually, wheels are expensive, especially if you are trying to buy like one wheel to match the other set of three that you have, and unfortunately they're like the stock rims.
And guys, remember, Emma loves her car more than most parents love their children. So let's continue the story with that in mind.
Okay, honestly, a Mini Cooper is my dream car. I've wanted one since I was like a little girl, and so I finally kind of had the opportunity with where my life is right now to purchase one. So I do love my car so much. Anyway, so I just had like the absolute meltdown about my flat because, fun fact, I've never had a flat tire. Insane, I know. So at first I was kind of just like, okay, and like I kind of knew the general idea behind changing a tire.
But
which
here,
really
wait,
sad.
Let me come into this. So when this happened, I realized Emma had no idea how to change a tire yet, or she's like, you put this here, right? But she'd never tried it, so I was like, okay, I'll take a stab at this. So I got the winch or wench out of my car, like the back, and so we're gonna raise up.
Okay, wait. Before you get there, though, you gotta let me tell this part of the story.
Okay.
Before we get there, any of you also who don't know, Mini Cooper is made by BMW, which is a like German European company. We obviously are not in Europe; we're in the U.S. And Russ drives he drives a Jeep, so that's obviously not really foreign based either. And neither of us have really ever dealt too much with jacks from foreign cars. And let me tell you, the jack on the Mini Cooper is so strange.
It's really strange. One, it uses a really weird tool. The spare tire is underneath the car.
Are you going to let me tell this story, or are you going to tell it for me?
Okay, I'm sorry. Go.
So before we even get to the spare, Russ, like, we couldn't figure out how to get the jack to work, so we're like, screw this. We just got Russ's jack out of the back of his car. And we got it jacked up, and then we were kind of digging around to figure out how to get the spare out. So, like Russ was about to say, on Minis, the spare is in a carrier up underneath the vehicle. So not inside the rear of the vehicle, underneath the rear of the vehicle. And these cars are like 5 inches off the ground. So it's a little weird. Anyway, we attempted to, like, kind of work with the spare for a second, and then we're like, oh, screw that. We'll just get the tire off now and then get the spare later, right? Yeah, that didn't happen. So the company that put my tires on the day before, or my wheels, used the, like, actual rivet machine like you see on NASCAR, you know, like the zook, zook, zook kind of thing. Okay, so that, like, over-torqued them to the point where Russ, who is quite tall, kicking, standing, jumping on the actual wrench, could not get his bolts to loosen.
Yeah, and I weigh about slightly under 200 pounds, and I was putting my full force into it, like bouncing.
Yeah, and they weren't loosening. So then we asked help from, like, a bigger guy, and they also wouldn't loosen with him jumping on it. So that was a cool thing, and that's kind of when we realized I'm going to have to call someone, like, out to just get my freaking wheel off, because there's absolutely no way I'm going to do it, and I don't have any of, like, the electronic rivet machine, you know, like the actual drill kind of looking things.
Wait, did you tell them that the place, the best place?
I'm getting there. Anyway, so in the process of all this hectic craziness, it's already, like, let's say, I don't know, 10:15 in the morning, right? There's only one place in the town that Russ goes to school in, which is where I was, which is like 2 hours from where I live, that repairs tires and wheels. And so I called them, and they're like, oh, BT Dubs, we close at noon today, and we're not open on Sundays, so you'll have to bring it in on Monday if you don't get it to me by 11:30 today. It's 10:15. You'd think that'd be enough time. Wrong. So that really puts the pressure on then, because I'm like, I gotta get this wheel off my car, even if it leaves it on the jack till I get back. I gotta figure something out. So after jacking with just trying to get the freaking rivets off, we finally just realized and conceded, I think, that it just is not going to happen like today. I'm not going to be able to get the wheel in there to get fixed. And thankfully I took Monday off from work. Otherwise I would have actually been screwed. But anyway, so we had to call a different company to come out just to take my wheel off and put the donut on, which was a whole nightmare in itself, and it took a couple hours, and finally he got up there, and it was like this really young kid, and he was super sweet, but the thing is, just like me and Russ, he had no clue how to get the spare out of my car, like getting it dropped down, because it's such a weird system to drop the spare tire out of a Mini Cooper. And it's like 3 little metal ring clamps that you have to, like, squeeze around the center rod to pull out the butterfly nut. And it's like just this whole weird process. So he finally is able to get this freaking spare out and the donut put on. And then he gets my tire off and all this, like, stuff. No big deal. And then he's like, yeah, I'm just going to put the carrier in the back of your car. And I'm like, that's cool. No biggie. Thanks, dude. And so we moved on. And I was still having, like, a huge panic attack about this. And then moving on, we went through the weekend, celebrating my birthday, and then I got to Monday morning, and we get up, and I follow Russ the back way on my little tiny bike tire of a donut that was already flat-ish. Let me tell you, it needed air, too, and I was like, I am so screwed. So we got to the tire place, and Russ actually picked up my tire, my big wheel, the normal one, and took it into the garage, and I just gave the guy my key and was like, here you go, have fun. And that's when I decided to kind of drop the rim was originally cracked but repaired bombshell on this guy. And he gave me the look that honestly I thought he was going to give me, which was yep, you got a cracked rim and it broke the weld, which is what I was worried about. So he was like, I'll let you know, but I think it's the rim, and I can't do rim repairs. We send ours off to this other town, which is closer to where I live than where I was with Russ. And I was just like, oh my God, I have no way, of driving 2 hours at 65 miles per hour on a donut. There's just no way. So, needless to say, Russ was like, let's go get breakfast, which I still, couldn't hardly eat. I was so nervous and panicky and everything else. And then I got a call less than 20 minutes into breakfast, and thank the good Lord, a little bit of good luck came my way, and it was actually just an issue with the nut that is attached to the stem that goes into my tire for my tire sensor on my car. So it was one size too small and let out the tiniest bit of air, but overnight, it let all of it out. So, upon this $12 kit that they put on my wheel, it fixed everything, and everything has been perfect since with them. But
wait, let's talk about how good that breakfast was.
That breakfast was the bomb, and let me tell you, I can go to that place every single morning. I got blueberry oatmeal, and Russ got a lobster and brie omelet.
Yo, the lobster and brie omelet. Let me just gush for a sec. Omelets are good. Lobster is good. Brie cheese, if you guys didn't know what brie was, is also good. But this thing is better than the sum of its parts. And, oh my God. And it came with these city grits with cheese and jalapenos and
And bacon.
And there's bacon. I was going to say there's a steak on top of it. There might as well have been. But, guys, just go out one day, spend $95, make this for yourself in your own home, and just indulge.
True.
But back to the car story.
Anyway, yeah, back to the car story. So then, I totally think I'm in luck, right? We finish breakfast, do a couple things, and get to the repair shop. And there she is, my little car, adores. Her name is Alice, by the way. All 4 of her tires are on, all 4 of her wheels are on. Everything's aired up and not leaking, thank the good Lord. And so when I get in there, they proceed to be like, oh, by the way, we couldn't get your carrier and your spare back on because it's bent. And if you know anything, being that many comes from BMW, everything is expensive for no reason. And when I say everything, I mean the stupidest part of that car is $100. And that's probably the only complaint I have about it. But that was kind of devastating because I'm I don't even know how much a carrier for a spare tire on a Mini Cooper is, and I don't really want to buy one. So I was pretty upset about that to find out that it had been bent. And so I didn't look at it, honestly. I kind of was just okay. So they said their mechanics couldn't get back on, blah, blah, blah. I was I'll figure it out later. I know some mechanics personally back where I live.
Wait. When you say it was bent, do you think the kid who took it off the car when we initially got changed bent it?
I don't really know. I don't know if the kid did or the mechanic just wasn't sure how to put it back on. Because, so I'll get to it here in a second, but long story short, my local mechanic figured it out. So I didn't have to buy a new one. Again, thank the good Lord. But they said that it was morbidly bent the other way, and I really don't remember seeing the little fella that replaced my tire, swapped my tires, bent. He just kind of dropped it.
Yeah, he just set it down.
But I don't want to blame anybody because I wasn't there to see it, so I'm not going to blame anyone in particular because I don't know. But that's all I heard and whatever else. But anyway, so on top of that, I get back in my car, and Russ and I just pulled forward 3 feet, and once again, my wheel sensor comes on and says that I'm losing air pressure in that same wheel that I just paid to get repaired. And I was just so giving up at this point. I couldn't even see straight. It was just one thing after another. So I went right back in there and told them what was going on. Again, thank the good Lord, they just forgot to reset my computer in my car to tell it it's fine now. I don't have a flat tire. So they reset it, and it's been a dream ever since. Thank the good Lord, not had any issues, knock on wood. It's been a fantastic car. Other than that, But yeah, that is I had a flat tire by a freak accident on my birthday. So there you go. Long story, but I feel like it was worth it.
Oh, definite payoff. Just like the end of a really good comedy joke or an action movie. But yeah, no, that was like what you were saying at the beginning, proof of your horrible luck. And
yeah.
I hate being like this, but Emma is so unlucky sometimes. It seems like it's like one of those, am I punked? Because there's just things that happen to Emma sometimes. I'm like, how? How is this happening to you?
But, and the thing is, it's not like my own personal, like,
no, it's outside factors.
It is. It's not like, oh, I, like, left my bread in the toaster too long and now it's burnt. It's like the toaster just had this full-on malfunction 30 seconds into toasting and, like, caught on fire. And it's just like... Well,
it's actually more like the toaster manufacturer didn't like you, so he sent you a toaster with a bomb in it. That's how random it is.
Yeah, it's weird. I love my life, but man, there's some things that get thrown in it that I'm like, I don't understand what I did to deserve this, but okay. Like, I'll just go with it and hope for the best next time, right?
Hey, I just remembered something.
Yes.
Okay. It has to do with loving your life. Remember 2 years ago when Emma was in some nature-y kind of botany, horticulture, earth science-y kind of classes. And she had this plant in my apartment. And she's like, hey, Russell, I need you to run this plant to me across campus. Okay. And where I used to live at this campus was by the, I guess, like athletic, the football field, basketball stadium, stuff like that. And where she was the opposite end of campus, probably a mile and a half away. And she's like, you got to be here in 15 minutes. And, oh, my God.
And with the stoplights and, like, walkways and everything, it takes forever to get across that campus.
So, no, what happened was I was being the nice boyfriend that I am.
You are a nice boyfriend. You're a great boyfriend.
Well, thank you. I sprung up, and I'm like, I didn't have anything to do that day, just because I think I was done with classes or something. I just remember I was like, in general, just going to sit around. But I got up, I like threw my shoes on, I grabbed the plant, which his name was
Benny.
What?
It was Benny the Begonia.
Oh, yeah, it was Benny the Begonia. So Benny the Begonia and I started running across campus. So we ran in the alley behind my apartment through this gas station parking lot where I didn't get hit by a car. Spoiler alert, I'm about to get hit by a car. I was running across this four-way intersection, which is, a four-way intersection in general is one way you can walk, then the other opposite direction you can walk. But here on campus, they close all the stoplights for one rotation, so you can walk like diagonally in the middle of the street or whatever. So I was doing this, and a car was turning, knocked me over, hit me, and I got like kind of not banged up, but I hit the ground quite hard. But guess what didn't fall? Benny the Begonia, the world's best boyfriend, saved the goddamn plant.
From
a
did.
black
Honestly,
Prius that turned into me.
You came in so clutch that day. I can't even begin to thank you enough.
Was it your final project, or what was it?
It was kind of a form of a final. Basically, if we could keep a plant alive, we got a bunch of extra credit. And I did do a fantastic job of keeping this plant alive. Because let me tell you, I don't have a green thumb. I have a hospice thumb because I help plants transition from life to Jesus every time.
I've never heard that term, a hospice thumb. That's so funny.
Thank you. But, like, yeah, I was pretty proud for keeping this little begonia alive. Like, I don't keep anything alive ever. I mean, I keep my pets alive, but I'm afraid of plants. I don't kill off my pets. But, like, my plants, they typically don't make it, unfortunately. And I try so hard. I buy, like, the grow bulbs and, like, all the, like, fertilizers, and I do all the research online.
So before backing yourself up that you weren't trying to kill me with a plant, so, like, the whole semester you're nursing this plant through life, through all of the powers that you have been given, and 15 minutes before it's due, and you forgot it, I get hit by a car with this goddamn plant.
Yeah. Yeah. Some of my bad luck rubs off on you sometimes.
See, I think this is what I mean by just it's extraneous factors. I feel like in the grand scheme of the universe, Emma was supposed to grab that plant and get hit by a car with her bad luck. But because of the parallel dimension universe, Russell grabbed it and got hit by a car. So I got a taste of Emma's bad luck.
Yeah, once you get a taste, you don't want to come back, honestly.
Yeah, no. I had a taste for 5 minutes, got hit by a car. I'm done. Thank you. I'll go back to my reality.
It's not a fun time. I'm trying to think of what other freak accidents have happened in my life, honestly. That are just
you used to have a Mustang.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, we'll tell this story and then we'll end the episode.
Yeah, that sounds good. Long story short, I'm not going to get into all the technicalities and drama of it, but I didn't want to drive to Chicago. I'm a horrible driver. I'm not a horrible driver. I just am a very...
Emma admitted it on a public forum that she's a horrible driver.
I am not a horrible driver. I'm just an easily scared driver, and I'm not really good at making that executive decision on stuff, which
Emma has the executive decision abilities of a deer in headlights.
Thanks. I so appreciate that. Anyway, so I don't know. I hadn't been driving that much recently because the university we go to, you can't have your car the first year you're there, because of limited parking and everything else. So it had been a while since I had driven regularly, and I just got my car back on campus. Long story short, after a year and a half of not driving and then making the decision to drive all the way to Chicago, and if you're not from the area, Chicago's kind of known for just having the world's craziest drivers and insane traffic. It just is around this area. So I did it, right? I was like, I'm going to drive to Chicago. And that's when the whole I used to have a Mustang comes into play, key on the used to have.
Emma got into a very... We can end the story there, but Emma got hit by someone doing... What were you doing? A left turn out of...
I was doing a left turn across 2 lanes.
Yeah,
Don't ever do it. It's honestly the worst thing ever. I got waved out by a lady and hit by a Mercedes at 60 miles per hour, spun out into the lady that waved me out. It was a 3-car pileup in the middle of the street on a city line. So 2 of everything showed up. 2 police departments, all this stuff. There was a fight over whose wreck it was going to be. I was completely by myself. I had no idea what was going on, to the point where I gave the freaking police officer my health insurance card when he asked for insurance. Mind you, they mean auto insurance card, not health, and they don't think you're funny. Nor did I think I was funny. I was just scared shitless.
Wait, my mom came to save you, though.
Yeah, your mom did come to save me. I was literally
Look at Kate come in for the win.
House. What'd you say?
Look at Kate coming in for the win.
True. Very, very true. I mean, I was shaking, but I was holding my stuff together until I saw your mom, and I immediately got the ugly cry face and just started bawling. I was just mortified. I was so mortified. I didn't even know what to do myself. So yeah. And then, speaking of bad luck, after that whole Mustang incident and the insurance and blah, 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 I got a new car, which is a Saab.
For those of you who don't know, Saabs are European cars that used to be bigger in the United States, but the company went out of business. That's probably why you haven't heard of it.
They're no longer in production, and I only had 1 key. It's only a fob system on the keys, and if you lose the only key, it disables your entire car, and my 10-pound dog ate my key, my only key, and so my 10-pound dog totaled my second car. Yeah, so now I have the Mini Cooper. Knock on wood, everything's gone smoothly with it aside from this tire thing. So I think I'm doing better now, but I am horrified with my track record with cars.
Yeah, Emma has bad luck with cars, so I have a bunch of shamans in my car, and whenever she gets in, we all have to start chanting so my car doesn't explode when Emma gets near it.
Okay, but the thing is, I actually mechanically am quite inclined.
No, you're good at fixing things. It's just when you get into the thing that you just fixed, it explodes.
But it's not my fixing; it's exploding. It's other things.
It's like you get struck by lightning.
Yeah, I don't understand my life, but yeah, there you go. A little bit about Russ and I and what's been happening in our lives recently, and all my bad luck. Maybe we should make this a segment. Emma's bad luck.
Oh wait, Emma, what's the bug fact of the week?
Oh no, you put me on the spot. I wasn't even thinking. Oh no. What was my last one? Was it the coleopteran family? Did we do that?
No, we have not.
All right, guys, ladies and gents, bugs and girls. Anyway, fun fact of the week, just like what we remember of the classification system, like kingdom, phylum, that whole dealio. When it comes down to families and orders and all of that, insects come in multiple orders, and I will tell you my favorite order of the day is Coleoptera. And again, that is Coleoptera, referring to the beetle family, so those hard, crunchy things that you step on outside.
Rhinoceros beetles are the coolest thing ever.
Yes, you should totally check out rhinoceros beetles. The world's heaviest insect is the Hercules beetle. Fun fact, he weighs 33 pennies. And again, I repeat, 33 U.S. pennies, because that is the weight system that they go by.
But that's actually, if you think about an insect, that's a lot. That's like 33 pennies if you're just thinking about the grand scheme of weights really light. But if you're thinking in terms of insect, damn. That's like...
They actually are turning the Hercules beetles... I'm sorry. I don't think I mean Hercules. Do I mean Hercules? I do mean Hercules. Hercules beetles into drones. So insects have 3 brain segments, and you can attach 3 electrodes to each of the brain segments and control all motor skills of the insect without injuring it, because their nerve line runs their belly, so you're not actually hitting their pain nerves, blah, blah, blah.
She's actually being serious. This is a real thing.
It's very real. So we now can attach 3 electrodes to the 3 parts of their brain and control when they open up the hard shell of their wing, when they open up the soft actual wing part that causes them to fly, because they actually have 4 wings, beetles do, fun fact. The 2 soft membranous ones are the ones they actually use to fly with. The hard ones just kind of protect their bodies. But we can control when they open their wings, when they fly forward, when they walk, crawl, whatever else. We can control all of that through that. And if you're a huge animal rights activist, I'm sorry. But if you're not, it's really cool science and very interesting that we were able to figure this out. So I know that they now are looking into using them as actual spy drones in areas that they are native to, because, well, if you saw a butterfly flying by, would you think, oh, it's totally spying on me? No, probably not. So,
but this is, I didn't believe her when she first said this a couple years ago, and then she showed me the article that whatever lab this is testing this as maybe something that's feasible to do. But yeah.
And this was taught in uni. This wasn't something I read on Facebook. This is a very real thing that we're working with.
It's a real thing with real published books, not BuzzFeed articles.
Yeah, so favorite order of the day is Coleoptera. Look it up. It's Coleoptera. Coleoptera.
Well, that's one more bug fact for you guys. Now you know a little more. So... yeah, that was the episode. Oh, big See What Sticks news this week. See What Sticks is getting its own website, so that's a big thing. Now, for any See What Sticks related question, comment, concern, need, want, desire, you can go to the upcoming website, and I'll start linking it below, probably by next week's episode, because it should be done by then. But yeah, so we'll have a new home for See What Sticks, but you can still find the uploads of the podcast. You'll still be able to find them on Spreaker, but everything else, if you want to listen to episodes, we're going to start doing video things to accompany some of the episodes, and you'll be able to find all of that there, as well as some of my individual projects.
Upgrading.
Yeah, it is definitely upgraded, and I'm super hyped if you guys can't tell.
Of course. We're all hyped, and we're all excited and ready.
Yeah, thank you. But yeah, that was another episode of See What Sticks, episode 25. Next week is 6 months. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions for the show before the website goes out, it is letusseewhatsticks@gmail.com, or we have See What Sticks on Instagram and Twitter, and there's a Facebook page, and I always link them below. But if you ever want to contact the show, you know how to do it. Or if you know me personally, just call me. Or if you know Emma personally, just call her. Or if you're Matt, or if you're my roommate Matt, just say hi.
That works too.
But yeah, thank you so much for listening to another episode of See What Sticks.
Thank you, and we will talk to y'all soon. Have a great morning, afternoon, evening.
Bye-bye!